You're on the air.
Oh no.
All right. I'm here with Jeff from Sacramento Press. Jeff,
Yes.
I see folks from the Sacramento Press everywhere now. Tell me what you guys are and what you're doing.
Okay, sure. We're a local online news site in Sacramento. We're a mix of professional and amateur content. We start off all citizen journalists, or community contributors as we call them. But we are constantly changing, and we realized that we had a need for some professionals. So at this point we have 3 paid reporters, and we also have 2 full-time editors and 3 part-time copy editors. So, yeah.
Okay. A couple things really interest me about what you guys are doing. The actual physical space, and you guys sort of treat it a little bit like it's an open public space as well for people to come in and talk and do stuff. Tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. I mean, that's definitely the case. We're in the RAA Express building, for all those historians out there that want to Google about Sacramento buildings. It used to be an old freight building. The space is all open. I think it's like 20-foot ceilings or 18-foot ceilings. The whole space is open. We started out there with 2 IKEA desks and 2 programmers in there building the site. But it still remains open. There's no cubicles in our office. The front space is all intended for people from the public to come in, use our computers, and they often do, and write stories and ask for our advice and our help. And we also hold workshops several times a month in our space, which is nice that it's open, so we can put 30, 40, on occasion 50 people in there and tell them about journalism.
Cool. Next thing that interested me, and this is for all the nerds out there,
Okay.
it's a custom-built site. You guys have built it from scratch, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
And, what was the reasoning behind that, and also what are some of the things that it allows you to leverage?
Sure, I think we just didn't see a tool out there that could do what we wanted at the time. I think we also didn't like a lot of the design for a lot of the sites out there. So if you go to our site, it looks a lot like a newspaper. And that design was hard to come by when we first started working on this. We started working on this in 2005. So, again, the idea that there was no technology that did what we wanted to do may have been somewhat dated by the time the product was finished. But we also do some other unique things, something called storylines, which allows authors to string together a bunch of articles and a storyline on a particular subject. So it's much like a blog, but has a really nice visualization on the site. We also group all our content via folksonomy and tags, which is important to us. And we can group tags and lay them out into nice section pages and do that for organizations. So we have a lot of flexibility in how we can display content.
Okay, next thing that interests me is you guys started from scratch, small staff of?
Right now we actually have a total staff of 17 people.
Okay, 17 people, and approaching sustainability. You guys seem to be growing, and you're reaching out for ad dollars and creating an ad network and things like that. Tell me a little bit about being on the front lines of that battle, which is happening all over.
I think it's great. I think because we're trying to do something, we know a lot. I think we end up knowing a lot more than people who've been in this space for a long time. And we're succeeding. We have month-over-month growth in revenue, about 20% each month. We have 3 main areas we're going after revenue. The most lucrative and interesting of which is we're doing social media consulting, which is a weird, only quasi-tie-in with an online newspaper. But it's basically because we gained a lot of experience doing that in promoting ourselves, and we're able to share that with small business owners, and that's been very profitable for us. But we do banner ads, and we do event sponsorships, which is a bread and butter thing for old newspaper, big metro dailies, and we found that that's a pretty successful moneymaker too. So the next step, as you mentioned, was we're doing local ad network, and that's not too many details I can talk about that, but definitely a big revenue channel.
So let's pretend you're giving advice to somebody in, somewhere else, Sacramento sized, something like that. What's your 1 or 2 key piece of advice?
Well, if it's Q4 next year, come talk to us and we'll set you up with a franchise. Until then, definitely think journalism isn't dead, and you need to be able to market yourself. And if you can have any kind of pay someone part-time, pay someone to sell ads for your site. I think that's kind of our experience, that people are very, very willing to do that. So, you could definitely make a nice side income and probably afford to even pay someone part-time to do that. And just start to think of creative ways. You just showed me a site earlier today. I was very impressed with Technically Philly.
Yeah.
They had some
Shout out Technically Philly, what up?
They had a lot of really, really intelligent ways to get revenue on their site. Their ad packages were very inventive. So I think you want to leverage a tight-knit community in any way you can. Workshops, all kinds of different kinds of things can augment your income for that. So be creative with revenue. Don't buy into the fact that you should just use Google Ads and stuff like that. You're never going to make your own income on that.
All right, Jeff from Sacramento Press, which is also at sacpress.com.
Sacpress.com.
All right, thank you very much.
Sure.